Hi guys, I'm back with my lectures. This is Mr. Joseph, your chemistry teacher. Today's lecture will be a continuation of our previous lecture on percentage composition by mass. In our previous class, I gave you a task after solving calculation of percentage composition by mass. So, in today's class, we're going to take the correction, and for those of us who have attempted the questions, you are going to see if you are correct, and if you are not correct, I believe you learn one or two things. But if you got the answers right, fantastic. So we're looking at percentage composition by mass. How you can calculate the percentage composition of an element in a compound. In our last class, we are meant to understand that a compound is a substance that contains two or more elements that are chemically combined together. So each element in a compound, they are combined in a definite proportion. So we'll go straight forward to the task, and I want us to please to listen attentively and learn one or two things. So we're taking the first question, which is, okay, now we have the question before us, the task. What mass of quicklime can be obtained by heating 75.0 gram of limestone, which is 86.8% of calcium carbonate? The first thing you have to do is to understand the question very, very well. What they're trying to say is that you have to calculate the mass of quicklime. Quicklime is calcium oxide that is obtained by heating 75.0 gram of limestone. And that 75.0 gram of limestone is what? 86.8% calcium carbonate. So the first thing to do is to write down the balanced chemical equation. So calcium carbonate, solid, undergo thermal decomposition to give you calcium oxide plus carbon dioxide, gas, solid. So after writing the chemical equation, you have to check if the equation is balanced. An equation is balanced when the number of atoms of each of the elements on the reactant is equal to the number of atoms of each of the elements on the product. So on the reactant, which is the left hand side of the equation, and the product, which is the right hand of the equation, will contain one atom of calcium and one atom of calcium on the product. Calcium is balanced. One atom of carbon on the reactant and one atom of carbon on the product, balance. 3 atoms of oxygen on the reactant and 3 atoms of oxygen on the product, balance. So the next thing is to calculate the mass of calcium carbonate. And from the question, the calcium carbonate is what? 86.8% of what? Limestone. So mass of calcium carbonate is equal to what? 86.8% of 75 grams of limestone. So mathematically, it means 86.8 over 100 multiplied by what? 75 over 1 to get the mass of limestone. So to use my calculator now, I have 86.8 multiplied by 75 divided by 100 will be equal to 65.1 gram. So the mass of calcium carbonate is 65.1 gram. But we have to calculate the mass of quicklime that is obtained by heating this particular mass of what? Calcium carbonate. So we have to use the formula Number of mole, as we all know, is equal to mass over molar mass. We already have the mass of calcium carbonate, so we have to calculate the molar mass of calcium carbonate. Calcium carbonate. So calcium is 40, carbon is 12, plus 3 brackets 16. So if I'm to use my calculator, we'll have 40 plus 12 plus 3 times 16, which is 48. So it's equal to what? 100. That is the molar mass. So the number of mole will be equal to 65.1 divided by 100, which is mass per molar mass. We're calculating the number of mole of calcium carbonate, which is, use my calculator, 65.1 divided by 100. We have 0.651 moles. Moles of what? Calcium carbonate. So we've succeeded in calculating the number of moles of calcium carbonate, but we're asked to calculate the mass of quicklime, which is calcium oxide. So we're looking at the mass of what? Calcium oxide. So we're going to calculate what? The number of moles of what? Calcium oxide. Then we can calculate the mass of calcium oxide. So I'm going to erase this for me to have enough space. So please, I want us to listen attentively. It's as simple as what? ABC. Okay. So from our calculation, we have 0.651 moles of what? 0.651 moles of calcium carbonate. Okay, so we'll go back to the equation. And from the equation, 1 mole of calcium carbonate reacts to form 1 mole of calcium oxide. That is 1 mole of calcium carbonate undergo decomposition by heating to produce 1 mole of what? Calcium oxide. Therefore, 0.651 moles of calcium carbonate, if it undergoes thermal decomposition, what moles of what? What moles of calcium oxide is it going to produce? So we'll say 1 mole generates 1 mole of calcium oxide, and for 0.651 moles will generate what? Which will now be equal to what? 0.6, if cross multiply, x will be equal to 0.651 moles of what? Calcium oxide. Now, we've gotten the number of moles of calcium oxide, which is quicklime. So we have to calculate the mass of calcium oxide. Using the formula, number of moles is equal to mass over what? Molar mass. Therefore, the mass will be equal to what? Number of moles times what? Molar mass. So the first thing to do is to calculate the molar mass of calcium oxide. Calcium oxide. Calcium is 40. Oxygen is 16. So 40 plus 16 is equal to 56. Therefore, the mass will be equal to 0.651, which is the number of moles, times 56, which is the molar mass. So if I'm to use my calculator, it will be 0.651 times 56, which is equal to 36.456 grams, which is approximately what? 36.5 gram. That is the mass of quicklime. So as you can see, it's as simple as ABC. So please, if you've made any mistake, I believe at this point you must have, corrected your mistake. So please solve as many questions as possible. It's as simple as what? ABC. And feel free to reach out to me if you are still confused, if there's any challenge, if there's any problem, please reach out to me. And I'll always be there for you, as usual. So that is it. Now let's go to the second question. Thank you very much. So this is the second task. Yes. An adult bones weigh 11 kg and 50% of this mass is calcium phosphate. And that's the formula for calcium phosphate. What is the mass of phosphorus in the bones of an average adult? The first thing you have to do is to make sure you comprehend the question, you understand the question very, very well before you make any attempt. An adult bones weigh about 11 kg, 11 kilogram, and 50% of this mass is calcium phosphate. So, this calcium phosphate from the question, Ca3, 4. So we have to calculate the mass of calcium phosphate. From the question, you say 50% of this mass is calcium phosphate. So the mass of calcium phosphate will be equal to 50% of what? The adult bone, which is 11 kilogram. Because an adult bones weigh about 11 kilogram and it contains 50% of calcium phosphate, which will now be equal to what? 50 over 100 multiplied by what? 11 kg over 1. So you have 5.5 kg. Yeah, 5.5 kg. So that is the mass of calcium phosphate. So then I ask, what is the mass of phosphorus in the bones of an average adult? So the next thing for you to calculate is percentage by mass. You need to know the percentage by mass of phosphorus in calcium phosphate, since you already know the mass of calcium phosphate. So to calculate the percentage by mass, it will now be equal to percentage by mass of phosphorus is going to be equal to what? The atom of phosphorus in calcium phosphate over the molar mass of calcium phosphate going by the formula we used in our previous class, multiplied by what? 100 over 1. So calcium phosphate is equal to 2 times phosphorus. Phosphorus is 2. We have 2 atoms of phosphorus, which is 2 times 31 over the molar mass of calcium phosphate. If you have to calculate the molar mass of calcium phosphate, calcium is 40, phosphorus is 31, oxygen is 16. So let's do that. 40 times 3, which is 120, plus phosphorus, 31 times 2, plus 62. That means 120 plus 62 plus 64 plus 64 is equal to 310. That is the molar mass of what? Calcium phosphate times 100 over 1. So we have to calculate 2 times 31 is 62 which is 62 times 100 divided by 310, which is 310, is equal to what? 20. So it's 20%. So percentage composition by mass of phosphorus. Percentage composition by mass of phosphorus in calcium phosphate is what? 20%. So the mass of phosphorus in the bones of an average adult will now be equal to what? Since we already have the percentage composition by mass, which is 20%, and we have the mass of calcium phosphate in an average adult bone, so it will now be mass of phosphorus will be equal to 20%, which is 20 over 100, multiplied by 5.5 kg. That is the mass of phosphorus in the bones of an average adult, which will now be equal to what? 20 times 5.5 is equal to, divided by 100, is equal to what? 1.1 kg. So you can see it's as simple as ABC. All you need to do is just to apply the formula, understand the question, and apply it very, very well, and you get the right answer. So for those of us that got the right answers, fantastic. If you had made one or two mistakes, please pay attention and learn from your mistakes. Thank you very much for listening. I'm Mr. Joseph, your chemistry teacher. Feel free to reach out to me for any difficulty, and please don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and go to the comment section and comment. I believe you've learned one or two things, so thank you very much. Once more, I'm always there for you. Feel free to reach out to me. I'm Mr. Joseph, your chemistry teacher. Thank you very much.